What's going on, everybody? How's it going, Discord community? Welcome back to another episode 11 of Behind the Bench. I'm your host, Neil, Irish Flyers collector, here on Discord and over on Instagram. Hope everyone's doing pretty well. We're getting ready. We've moved into the double-digit episodes, and we got a new topic for today. So I brought in another special guest host from a fellow Discord member. So let me do that right now. Bring him onto the stage and welcome Michael. Let's see, Michael Rinkrat 39. Thanks for joining me today.
Sure thing. Glad to be here, Neil.
Awesome. So those who know Rinkrat Michael from Discord know that we both share something in common. We're both Flyers fans. So we just spent probably, like the last 30 minutes talking Flyer stuff in general. So we kind of live near each other in a general area. So, but to bring people and other Discord members up to speed, you want to talk a little bit about maybe your origin story or something that what's your favorite part of the Discord, the Gong Show Discord?
Sure. So, as far as a brief origin story, I think it's probably similar to a lot of other folks, as a kid, big into collecting hockey cards and, those sorts of things. And, I collected all through the late 70s, early 80s, and then once kind of junk wax era hit, I kind of moved on to other things, kids, family, the whole 9 yards, and, put the cards away for a long time.
Yeah.
It was actually only a little over a year ago did I actually break them back out again. Thought, let me take a look at what I have, and, started looking through it and realized a large majority of it was damaged. I had water damage, a flood in my basement, took out a lot of, important cards to me. So I decided to, try and rebuild those things, and then, just kind of see what the hobby was all about. And it's a world different than what I left.
Yeah, it is.
Breaks and, all these inserts and, everything is
grading too, right?
Yeah. It was kind of overwhelming, but, I kind of stuck with it. But at the same time, I still kind of stick to my roots of, trying to complete sets, and that's kind of what I do. My old collection, I'm still rebuilding. I'm still missing, a few cards to get those, which would give me a set from 1979 to 1999. I'd have at least one complete set for.
And is it
each year
particular to a particular brand, or you try to just try to complete a set that you're closest to, like I'm talking like O-Pee-Chee or Tops or Upper Deck, or do you lean one way or the other?
Yeah. So as a kid, not knowing any better, I, looked at Tops because, in the US, Tops was a lot easier to come by than O-Pee-Chee. Other than, was it 82, 83, 83, 84, like the O-Pee-Chee and no Tops years.
Yep.
So, yeah, but for the most part, I kind of stuck with, Tops. And then once kind of Upper Deck hit the scene, then it was like, forget everything else.
Yeah. That transition, I've talked about it on this show before, and it's very, very common. Like they blew the minds of the hobby. They really came on the scene and then kind of just changed everything. It's not that craft paper, like where you can see the fibers on the back, of the old 80s cards, like the white paper stock, and it was
the foil packs.
The foil packs were amazing, and the hologram. You're like, oh my god, it's got a hologram. You're like, look at this. Showing your friends,
these cards are gonna be worth $1 million.
And then comes the junk wax era.
And got flooded. And actually, I'm sure some people have heard this before, but kind of how I ended up with my little nickname there, Rinkrat, was during this whole junk wax era. ProSet came out with their new brand, and I was this is going to be even better than Upper Deck,
Yeah.
and I bought into it, and had a ton of Pro Set cards, including a pile of they had a Rink Rat insert card.
Yep.
I think I have one.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. There it is.
there, right? um, so I had a bunch of that, and everybody, and my friends at the time were like, "Oh yeah, there's the Rink Rat."
Now,
Uh,
I know you were on an episode with Phil once. Now, did you guys talk about the Pro Set? And
yeah, I
yeah,
kind of touched on it a little bit, just um, kind of the origin of my name, because I know, for the most part, when you say Rink Rat, you kind of, think somebody who kind of lives at the rink, which
yeah.
growing up I did that too, but it
Mhm.
was more for the card aspect.
Now, did
So
you ever pull a hologram cup, or do you have one?
no, yeah,
No.
it's one for all the boxes and cases that I had, not one.
Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. Well, you can go get one. Phil wants to rip. Phil wants to pull one. I don't know if he's still on that journey or not, but he wants to pull one.
Does he still have a lot of Pro Set laying around?
I know he brought a bunch to Expo in April, and I think the guys were all getting Pro Set fatigue. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. Had nothing to do with it. It was going to be homework, honestly. That I had other stuff going on, but I couldn't go in April. But the guys
Right,
had, I think they were having Pro Set fatigue from the amount of packs they were opening that he brought up with them.
right.
So I remember Josh, when they were coming, when Josh and Louie were driving home, Josh went live from the passenger seat driving home. And he's just tearing packs and cards. Boom, boom, boom. All of them going on the floor. The wrappers of the cards. He's like, all right, there's no. Would have been funny if he pulled one in the car, but
Yeah, right.
Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we have yeah, that era, that's the funny thing is, you were talking about how you're a set builder and that's your style of collecting, and it fits your profile because that's it's what you kind of that's what we did,
yep,
in the 80s and the late 70s going through the 80s. You could build the sets, and we didn't have all the inserts and all the crazy numbers, cards, and all that fun stuff. So that's what we did, so
yeah,
that fits your profile at least, just because
yeah.
that's how you got into it. So
Yeah, and I got, kind of the same story I'm sure a lot of other people have, is when get back into it, bought a box of cards and started ripping up, and the base card's like, oh, look at this is great. Not realizing that, now base cards,
it's sad.
yeah,
It makes me sad. It really
it
does.
is.
It
Well,
makes me sad. I'm just like, people throwing them away, and I'm like, come on, base
yeah.
cards matter, people.
I watched a few breaks, just
Mhm.
trying to familiarize myself with all this because that was all new to me, and then watching these guys break, and they're ripping these things open, go base, 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 and they just throw them. They have a garbage can right next to them. They just,
Going.
and I'm like, no.
Yeah. For guys like you, for me, for myself, maybe you're the same way, but it's like I could clean house if I would, go sit by a breaker and just put a
Yep.
bag or can and catch them all. Like I would take them all. I would take them all.
Yep.
And I do. Like I used to see stuff like at the expo. You see some base cards laying around or whatever on the table, and I'm like, whoop, take them.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, and at the house at the chateau and being there, people ripping cards. I remember like trying, like, guys, don't throw those away.
Yep.
Louis was taking them. I was taking them. I'm like, give me the flyers. Give me all the flyers. I'm like, Louis was taking them, and I think now, like, I just would want the flyers. Like, I still collect them, and I still put them in the
Right.
old style binders. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, I think your previous episode about doing the trading of teams and things like that,
yeah, the team
I think is
lot.
a great idea. Um, uh, I have tons and tons, but most of my stuff is, again, kind of, uh, mid late 80s and
Hmm.
90s. So, may not be too, exciting for a lot of folks, but, you know, I'd be happy to kind of like mix some of those in and, you know, put together
Yeah,
team sets from there. But
yeah, because you got to think about it too, because not everybody collected back then, and we hold something. So yeah, we'll see. I just got to try to take off with it and maybe try to just I know a couple people reached out saying that they like the idea, and I'm
mhm.
you and I can't do it. I mean, it'd be great, but we could, because heck, we could drive halfway and meet, but we both want flyers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have too many Couturier cards, actually,
Well,
unfortunately.
I was you just when we let before a peek behind the curtain, we went in and I was showing Michael my profile in there, and so yeah, you saw how many are in there. So
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
almost all those pictures that I added, most of them I have, so it's pretty.
Yeah. No, I don't think of the ones I have, I don't think you need any of them.
No, I've got the base ones. I got most of them,
Yeah.
so we'll
Yeah.
see. But we'll
Yeah.
talk after the show. There's one
Sure.
I'm looking for.
Sure.
But so Michael and I got to talking a number of weeks ago. Back when I was looking for someone to assist me with a particular topic, and I noticed one of your comments about being pretty active on that was with regards to be on TCDB, on trading card database. And the funny thing was, I was talking to some other people, and they're like, "Oh, I don't really go on there and I don't do much with it. I'm not sure." It's that and another one, which was ComC, and it's like, wait, trading card database is a good resource that we can utilize.
Mhm.
But you started, like, the reason why I went to you, and this episode intrigued me for the number of weeks while we were trying to get together on this, was you use it for a resource and an avenue that I didn't even. I think I've saw some stuff, but diving into it, and that's like utilizing it as a resource to acquire cards and trades, and a community for trading on there.
Yeah. And, I more or less kind of stumbled upon it,
Yeah.
just kind of noodling around the site. I think people look at it as a place, to look up certain cards and sets, and, maybe some people keep it as, an inventory of certain things.
Hmm.
But yeah, I looked at things like the forums, and then started looking around. And as I think I told you earlier, I kind of had you know uh, a lot of free time on my hands, recovering from an injury. So I got all my cards out, made up lists, and I went through and put 39,000 cards up on TCDB. Um,
39,000 cards.
yep.
Jeez.
Yeah. So all I would do is I'd have stacks and stacks of cards, all along the dining room table, all over the house, and then I would just kind of go through and make my list of cards that were missing, and enter everything else in, and that was it. It took me about 6 weeks.
That's a good recovery period, I guess. That's a
Yeah.
good time. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Yeah. There's a knee surgery, so I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Now I'll have to give you credit, because being a set builder, that makes sense. That's what's important to you, is having all those cards and those
right.
sets. I don't have. I only have my cards. I track that with, like, what's my important cards. So, like, my 8 boxes of base cards of other teams, I don't have any of them tracked. I just put my way of collecting is the PC with the particular players and whatnot. You being a set builder, yeah, that's a daunting task. I mean, taking that long, so I can see why it would be pretty
Yep.
pretty daunting. You got to have a lot of free time or patience to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the intriguing thing that I found was the trading factor that you talked about. So you joined there. What did you say earlier? Was it just in last April 24?
April of 24. Yeah.
And you said approximately how many trades and cards that involved in that? Do you remember?
Yeah, so a little over 150 individual trades over that
Okay.
time period, um, with about uh, 5,500 cards
Uh-huh.
exchanged.
Now there were those are like, so some those that includes the outgoing and the incoming, right?
Yeah, so it's like 2,800 each way. Um, you
That's
know,
like that's impressive. Like that's super helpful. Like, especially if you're a set builder and you want to,
yep,
you want to help fill in the gaps, or even if you're a collector of particular players or particular cards, like,
yeah, no, it's great for all of that.
yeah. And it's something that I was just like, wait, you do it for what? And I'm like,
Yeah,
hang on a second. I'm like, not only am I doing what wanted to talk to you just for my own selfish reasons, but I was like, well, this needs to be talked about, because it really, it's an avenue that's, probably very, I don't know, it doesn't get talked about a lot. I don't think so. I figured, this is an opportunity for I'm going to call you an expert. It's only been a year and a half for you, but
Yeah,
a year and 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is. But that level of amount of trades and cards exchanging hand, like that's huge.
yeah.
Um,
It's for the longest time when I first started, uh, you know, as we call the mail days now,
mhm.
I would rival, people like, Phil and California Dave on
Okay.
but it would all be trades,
Yeah.
right? And, so my mailbox would be just stacks and stacks of envelopes,
Yeah.
of all these trades you know, uh,
That's a huge aspect of it. Like if you've got stuff you want to unload, I mean, now to do trades, you're going to have to put stuff in your inventory that you're willing to part with as well. So that's
mhm,
that's key because you need to have people be able to see what you have available. Correct?
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what might be harder, and there's no buying on there. It's just trading.
No, you can do buy, sell.
Okay.
Um, I really don't participate in that. I keep it strictly to trades.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
you know, and
Yeah, it's a cheap way to do the hobby. The money's got to go to the postage, I guess. So
yeah, yeah, and
you know,
depending on how many cards and where it goes.
yeah.
I've done a lot of trades. With Canada, several other countries
Hmm.
over this past year plus.
Hmm.
And, when you have, 50, 60 cards in a package, it gets expensive pretty quick to ship it. You
Now,
know,
I hope you give the postman. I hope you give your letter carrier a good tip at Christmas time,
um,
or you have a good relationship with them. I'm sure.
yeah, yeah, but especially now that I'm really kind of back into the hobby,
Mhm.
altogether, not just with the trades.
Yeah.
I get daily, eBay packages and
Mhm.
whatnot packages, and
Okay.
yeah, it's so they're kind of used to me now.
They get used to you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
yeah.
So yeah. Let me ask you one more question before we
Mhm.
jump into kind of showing the background there and how to do some of these things. But do you remember? And this is just for giggles here, I guess. Do you remember what maybe the biggest trade was, total quantity as far as number of cards you've traded or received? Is it or
Uh,
not?
yeah, I think it was actually one of my early ones.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I think was around 125 cards
Okay.
each.
All
Right?
right.
So we exchanged 125 each. Most of them, you know, uh, the way most people operate on that site, they tend to try and keep everything to what they call PWE, plain
Hmm.
white envelopes.
Hmm.
So, depending on how you package it, you can get, 18, 24 cards, in an envelope nicely and, be able to package that up, or you can do a couple of envelopes,
Hmm.
especially when you're dealing again with, going to Canada or anywhere overseas, you kind of have to keep the numbers pretty low.
Yeah.
Uh, but, trades with people, in the States here, I've done trades with people where I send them a whole brick of cards and
Yeah, yes, you do you'll do like those BCW boxes, the white
yep,
boxes and stuff like that, and just
yep,
slap a sticker on that, drop it off at the post office, and
yep,
you
yeah,
put some
pretty
paper
much.
towels or something like that, wedge it in there.
Yeah, lots of paper towels, bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But for the most part, it's the you know the envelopes that I do the most that basically fill up a 9 window sheet,
Mhm,
um, with as many cards as I can fit in there nicely, and then
mhm.
kind of fold it up and tape it with painter's tape, not scotch tape.
No,
Some
don't use
people,
that.
yeah. I still get a lot of those eBay packages that are just all scotch tape, which
Oh, I've
yeah,
I've been not to not to change again. I've been creating like notes for one of the episodes I want to talk about. If you decide you want to be a seller or want to sell cards on eBay or
right.
just like that. And like I've got all these notes. It's like number one, don't use scotch tape. Number two, don't use scotch tape unless
Yeah,
you're sealing the outside of the envelope. Fine, but everything else got to be painter's tape. You got to invest in some painter's tape.
yep. But there's actually users on eBay I won't buy
Oh,
from because I've gotten more than once scotch
mm,
tape cards.
wow,
So
that's good to know. I mean, I've
yeah,
seen that too, and I'm like, oh, come on. So
yeah.
Well, cool. Let's jump into it, right? I
Sure.
mean, why not? You know, do you want to I'm gonna try to let's see here. If you want to go to share your screen, I'm gonna put us to the side and let's see here. Whoop. Put us to the side and add to stage. There we go. Now, can you use the control and then zoom in a little bit to increase your screen view there? Is it control or alt? I forget which one it is.
Yeah, I thought it was. Ooh, why isn't it?
There you go.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good. Maybe go maybe one more.
One more? Sure.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, it's just it'll help out with others and being able to view it and whatnot. So
Sure. Yep.
cool. So yeah, so you're trading. So you create your profile. That's your first thing. Obviously, if somebody comes, some people probably don't even have profiles. But create your profiles and kind of go from there. And then you're you know, I'll let you take it from here. I mean, teach us all how to make some trades on here. Hey,
I'll do my best.
Cards.
Yeah, I'll do my best here. But yeah, so with TCDB, first thing is create a profile, right? Kind of give a you can see since April 23rd of 2024, last time I logged in, obviously today, shows my current card collection. How many cards I have?
It's a few.
Yeah, it's a couple. And kind of my bio and backstory. Been out of collecting and trying to recover from a flood that damaged a whole lot of stuff, and stuff like that.
I think you got to update that though. I'll be honest, Michael, not to cut you off. I think you got to get rid of that been out of collecting since 2000.
Yeah, I know.
Been back since 2024.
Yep. Yeah, should update that, right? So kind of pretty straightforward, and you kind of see all sorts of stuff related to the site from forums, and if you can set goals. I haven't really gotten into that. I've pretty much stuck to just straight up trading. So if we kind of start from the beginning, kind of look at my collection, right? So it's broken down. So these are the cards that I am not selling. So these are the cards in my inventory. These are completed sets that I have. There are some completed sets in my main collection that I haven't made it to the set list yet. But then, next here is my want list. These are all the cards that I'm looking for. And there are easy ways to kind of mark all that stuff. It's not like you have to, mark off each individual card. There are ways you can say, take all the cards from this set or all the cards from this series and make them want lists. There's lots of ways to kind of speed up the process.
Cool.
And then this is pretty much, the stuff I have, for sale or trade. Now you can sell. I don't, I don't buy on here either. Like I said, I stick strictly to trading only. But here, again, you kind of see what I have as far as cards. And as I told you earlier, I spent the time to enter, which started out as 39,000 cards that I originally entered. And now I have a few more than that. And ever growing, even though, I'm trading. So, so pretty much how I use the site is I kind of come here, and there's a transaction section. So this is where everything happens. So under transactions, it's broken down pretty simply, right? These are composing. These would be transactions you're working on, like you can work on them and save them for later. There are offers, so people send you offers. There are proposals that you send out and waiting for, someone to accept or reject, that sort of stuff. Trades that are in progress, and then trades that are completed. So you see here, I have 153 completed trades.
Done a few.
Yep. And there's others. There's declined and withdrawn trades. There are some people that aren't quite as active on here. So you might request a trade, and my timeline is about 2 weeks. If I don't get a response within 2 weeks, then I just withdraw the trade.
Yeah,
And I
because
send them a
I have
note.
to be honest, that's probably the one, maybe the one drawback you probably run into more frequently than not. Like there's a
Mhm.
lot of the, a dead account, so to speak, where somebody just goes on here, they went on here years ago and
Yep.
they toyed around with it and then they just kind of moved on past it, or maybe they could have left the hobby, but maybe some people don't come back to it. I mean, it is, not for nothing. I mean, we've talked about it earlier, and it's, TCDB is a very antiquated looking website, and it's a little bit, but it has to be simple to be built this way to do all these
Yeah.
things that it does.
It would
Um,
be chaos otherwise.
correct. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still like it looks like it was, the joke, and I agree with it that it looks like it was built in, 94. It
Mhm.
hasn't changed, and it's like, well, yeah, it kind of has to because it's got that Excel base, base model type of thing with at its core to do all these things. So
Right.
it
But that's
was,
what makes it efficient, though, is,
yeah, yeah, the efficiency of it, because we've all utilized it, check out what we want to see. And
yep.
the thing that's nice is it helps a set builder like you. It helps me with a player, like so.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry, I would cut you
Oh,
off
no
there,
worries.
but
Yeah.
it's.
So, again, kind of through the rest of this here. So,
Mhm,
uh, there are, decline trades. So I get responses back where they just flat out decline. More often than not, is if you request a trade, um, they have the option to counter, so they can, manipulate the cards going either way and send your response back, and then you can counter. Like I've done some trades with folks where we've countered back and forth like 4 and 5 times till we kind of got, to the right number and the right cards.
mhm,
Um, and most of my declined uh, transactions really come from the beginning when I was a little more naive on how it worked.
mm.
And so I was just, throwing out these ridiculous lists, and, I would request, 47 young guns from, 22, 23 upper deck, and, offer, 900 pro set cards.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, you got refined. Now it's
Yes.
in. You get refined. You're like, what? What? You don't need those? No,
Yep.
nobody needs those.
Yeah,
Not
but
right.
it was on their want list, right? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
to me, I was like, well, you need these, so why not? So I learned, pretty quickly,
Yeah.
on trying to keep the trades as even as possible.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
I've done things where I've completely overwhelmed, somebody with the number of cards that I send for a handful of cards that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Again, because I have a lot of base, so that I can kind of get away with that.
Mhm. Mhm. No,
Uh,
that's good.
yeah, but for the most part, they're pretty even up. So
Yeah.
if we kind of look at this part's pretty interesting, is the statistics behind all the trades.
Yeah.
So here you can see, 2024 had 108 completed trades, 2,000 cards sent, just about 2,000 cards received, and total exchanged. And 2025, you know, I, I've slowed down a bit. I've been a little busier, but I'm sure I'll pick up soon.
Yeah.
Um, once the kids go to school and that sort of stuff, I have more time on my hands to kind of do this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but along with the stats, you can see, people that I've traded with,
That's good.
these users, and you see, this person in particular, I've done 6 different trades with them,
Mhm.
and down the line, pretty much everybody on this list, I've done more than once.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and
it's,
that's key. You get somebody you work with, and you're
yep,
both doing same things. Now, do you run into a lot of set builders, or is it just a whole wide variety of?
yeah, it's a wide variety because
Yeah.
it, I find there's an awful lot of people that are working on insert sets.
Mm,
They're trying to complete, dazzlers or, portraits for the last 10 years, or what have you. So, if I have a handful of, portraits or dazzlers, they'll take them pretty quickly,
mhm.
So, they're out of the list that I've worked with, I'd probably say it's about 50-50. Half of
Okay.
them are set builders, half of them are looking for specific inserts or young guns or certain numbered cards
Hmm.
of a player, right? So, there are people out here that collect specific players, like Sean Couturier.
Hmm. There's a
Um,
few of us. Don't talk. There's not too many of us, but
yeah.
we
Oh no,
exist.
because somebody has them all,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
right?
Cool.
Yeah. So, just a little more interesting with the stats kind of thing here. I think is interesting is it breaks it down by countries that you've traded with.
Wow.
Yeah. So look at Canada.
Hmm.
So these are all the provinces that I've
Yeah.
traded with people. Here's the ones that I still need to work with, and you can actually click through and find somebody from this province, and hopefully find cards that you can exchange. Czech
Super
Republic.
crazy.
I've done Finland, Germany, Israel,
Hmm.
Slovakia, and United States. I've done a little more than half the country.
That's
That's right.
crazy. That's right. That's cool. Those are more stats than you actually need, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy, but it's kind of fun, you know?
Yeah, but it's interesting, like I just like the first time I sent something to Hawaii, I was like, oh look, I'm sending this to Hawaii. You know,
It adds a whole new level. Like it
yeah,
adds a whole new element to the hobby. Like, all right, I need to, well, no, I can't trade this car with you because I need somebody from Missouri.
yep, yeah. That kind of looked at that a little bit, and the same goes for like Canada. I was trading a lot throughout Canada, and then when the postal
Hmm.
stoppage happened, like
Hmm.
that pretty much brought trading to Canada to its knees. You couldn't.
Hmm.
Um,
You can imagine.
so so taken a while to kind of get that started up again. But it's,
Right.
I love this kind of stuff, this data and information to go through. Like you know, all this data is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of on the stats side, but how I typically approach trades,
Yeah. How do you
there's
do
a
one? Let's get it. Let's show
tool
how you would
section,
approach it.
right? So under tools, the
Hmm.
first thing, once you kind of have your stuff entered in, the cars that you have and the cars that you're looking for, um, the easiest thing is there's this trade matching,
Hmm.
and by default it shows you the people that you match the most cards with,
Wow.
um, and you can filter it by country, right?
Hmm.
So you can go United States, look at people that have only greater than 90% feedback, because at the end of the trade you give each other feedback that accounts for your score.
Yeah.
um, so you definitely don't want to kind of dabble. You're kind of gambling a bit more once you go further down.
It's like
um,
everything. Understood.
yep. And then how much feedback do they have? Do you want somebody who's only done a handful of trades, or do you
Hmm.
want somebody who's pretty experienced in it? um, I usually kind of start with 10 or more, just so they have something under their belt,
Hmm.
and then filter, and it breaks all that down for you.
Hmm.
So
Now
you can,
those matches, that means they have 109 cards that you want, or that it could be both
it
ways.
could be either way.
Okay. All
It
right.
could be a combination of both. It could be more weighted on one side or the other, but the total number, I think,
Yeah.
comes out to that.
Yeah.
Some are, even more. Like it might be 109 for me, but then they're looking for 400 of my cards.
Okay.
Yeah, it, it's kind of interesting. So we'll just take this one in particular. So, this is the user, I've traded with before,
Hmm.
right? They're out of Tennessee. And, as it says, here's a list of all the cars that match between your lists,
Mm.
right? So, cars that I'm looking for,
Hmm.
109, right?
Hmm.
Cars that they're interested in,
Is
945.
it? It's a good thing you've
So,
got all that stuff entered.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But, even having that entered for, uh, a potential trade like this, it takes some time to kind of filter out the cards that you're willing to send and the cards that you
Mhm.
really want.
Yeah, because you might have like one of this card, that card, and that, right? Is that what I'm saying? Like understanding, like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're not
and
quite
sometimes
willing to get rid of
to
it.
try and make the trade as balanced as possible, you
Hmm.
know, uh, I wouldn't want to, uh, give them, all these 71, 72 tops, especially because most of them are flyers,
Mhm.
for a handful of, I don't know.
Yeah, don't trade a flyer for a Rangers. Keep scrolling, keep
Yeah,
scrolling.
exactly. But I have a lot of 7980 because I'm looking to rebuild that set again.
Mhm.
But again, I wouldn't trade those for, a handful of, I don't know, 92, 93, you know, uh, Pinnacle or Stadium Club,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
Now, no, the nice thing about that is, though, being a Flyers fan too, you might have multiples. Like if you're like me, you probably have 2, 3 cars, 4 cars. I mean, there's players that I have 8 of the same 50. Like I have like for Konechny, like I have a lot of his base stuff that I have. I'm like, it's like 2 pages worth of the 9-page binder thingy. It's like, oh, same card, but so it could work out. But I just
Yep.
thought of a question though as you were scrolling through this.
Mhm.
So a lot of these are raw, obviously,
Yep.
and card condition. How do you guys discuss that, or is it basically an understood and given that it's going to be a card that's been handled and it's softer edges or things? How does that
Yeah,
come up into play?
that's uh,
Is that probably the biggest
depending
headache?
on the user, it's typically you assume it's in, you know, very good to near mint kind of condition by default. And if it's less than that, they should have it marked. Like here, you have a good, very good on
Hmm.
this Cashman.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, actually, that's my card. I have it
Yeah, yeah,
marked.
your
But,
cards. Well, you might be doing better than others. So
yeah.
yeah.
So, they probably have some soft corners, things of that
Mhm.
nature. But for the most part, if I have nothing, then it's about as good as you can expect for a 1971, 72 tops card.
Sure, and it just you don't. Now, do you find that people are it's set builders? We're less concerned. And I said I'm saying we because I don't collect the sets, but I do collect stuff. Sometimes it doesn't. You don't care about the centering as much.
Right.
In some, you don't want to completely crop left, but you would note that if it was really bad. But the
Yes.
centering is usually not as important. If I'm just like you're like, hey, this is what it is,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah. A
can
little
probably
less.
share
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah, for certain cards, especially some of the earlier cards that are known, that they're pretty off center,
Hmm.
or they're cut funny,
Heck,
and
22 O-Pee-Chee, was that the year everything was off cut?
yeah,
Everything was left, right, or like,
yeah. So there's a bunch. So you kind of expect it to a degree, but
okay,
generally, you kind of uh, note that,
okay,
especially if it's a little more than a common card.
okay. All right, good to know. Good to understand.
Yep.
No.
So, this pretty simple, how to do this, right? So yeah, this is the entire list of cards. So, you know what? I don't want to start with this because there's way too many cards in this list.
Yeah.
uh, Let me go down a bit. Let's see here. Okay, I've traded with them before too. They're out of Maryland, right? So you see on my side, there are 34 cards.
Hmm.
And there's 72 there. So typically what I do is I go in here and I say, add all items to new trade. So it takes everything on the list, puts it in a new trade. Now, has some interesting things built in here, right? So first warning says this transaction contains items already listed in another proposal.
Hmm.
So something that's been proposed already, right? Um, I have out there in another deal, and you can click on this and it'll take you to that transaction and you can find that card and see kind of the status of that transaction.
Okay, so if it was like, oh, you're like, oh, that's on day 13 of a trade that I'm waiting on, and you might be
Right.
like, all right, bag that, leave it in this trade,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay, that's
Done
good.
that quite a bit. And then same goes for stuff that you've already requested.
Okay.
Kind of takes that into account that maybe you don't want multiple of, certain cards.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
so
powerful. That's a powerful.
yeah,
It's very helpful for sure
yeah,
because
yeah,
you can lose track easily. I mean, heck, I have a hard time keeping track of. Oh, all right, what's my incoming stuff?
yeah.
But if
I
you're
do
doing
that.
this,
Yep, I do that all the time with eBay, and I do a lot on Whatnot.
hmm.
Um, so, a lot of times I have a lot of packages kind of in transit and I forget what they are. Um,
Yeah.
so then I'll come here and do a trade and like, okay. And then those cards come in and I start trying to enter them into my inventory. And I go, well, I have this one already.
Yeah, it's like I just got that.
Yep. So
All right,
that,
well, I'm gonna have two now.
yep. Yeah. So,
So cool, yeah.
yeah. So, again, kind of shows you some
Hmm.
warnings there, and it shows you, your statistics here. Like this person in particular is just a little under 100% of their transactions. I like to boast that I'm 100, um, even after all my trades.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Um, so, here is the list. So now if I want to modify this trade in any way, let's say, on this side, uh, they're looking at 72 items. So I'll go under here and edit, and I can add more items, edit the quantities. So if somebody wants, say, 6 Josh Mahura, young guns, and I have them, I can update the quantities to give them 6.
Mhm.
Or I can remove items. This more than likely is where I start,
Yeah.
just to try and even things up. So pretty simple. Get this list, and you can single click, command click, or shift click your way to all sorts of stuff,
Okay.
um, and kind of take out, just as an example, take those cards out, and it updates everything. So now we're down to 53 versus 34.
Mm.
And, I kind of, for me, I go through and I just kind of whittle these down until I feel they're pretty close as far as what I'm asking for and what I'm giving them. And then once it's done, uh, first thing I do is I go in and edit. I create a message that goes along with this transaction. So the user will get a message, and usually I say, hey, up for a trade, or hey, want to trade again? I know we've done it, half a
Hmm.
dozen times. Um, and then there are actions. So you can just send it right away, and it'll send a message to them. If you see here at the top, up here, there's a whole section for messages, and you'll have
Yep.
a little envelope here showing you that you have messages waiting, that
Hmm.
sort of stuff. And then it's on its way, right? So
Hmm.
then you go into your transactions, and you'll see that you have one proposed.
Right.
You go in that proposal. This is a different one that I put together a little bit ago.
Cool.
And you can kind of look at the status of it and then go into the details, and you see the cards going back and forth here. And so here's what
Yeah.
I typically write: hi there, interested in a trade, open to counter offers, let me know,
Yeah.
thanks. Right, and
Yeah.
then kind of wait for them to respond. uh, Same thing when I receive offers. Right. So here under offers is trade I was offered. And this has been sitting around for a long time because we actually went back and forth on messages on trying to come up with something. And we just kind of said, well, we'll get back to this later.
Okay.
But
Nice.
anyway, they sent me a trade, and it's really not for very many cards. And, and we talk about being the remaining set builders on here, not the fancy stuff, that sort of stuff. But you see, we talk, back and
For
forth
sure.
quite a bit in trying to build the trade,
Yeah.
right? So, that's pretty much the idea. And then once it's in progress,
Hmm.
you have this whole thing. Now, this is a trade that um, I had a card get lost on me that was coming my way. And, basically they said, oh, if I come across it, I'll send it to you. And I've just left this out here just for the sake of arguments. It's not really
Hmm.
an expensive card or anything, but it's just
Right.
kind of a reminder for me. But basically, you have all different statuses from, package sent, package received,
Hmm.
transaction completed. And then you also have, if you are into doing things like buying and selling, they have, uh, that the transaction was paid or, sold, that sort of stuff.
And
Um,
people have to do all those, I would imagine, probably just on the side. It says nothing. There's
right.
nothing in here that's nothing integrated like PayPal in here.
Correct.
You have to do it all on
Correct.
the side. So
Yep.
TCDB kind of CYA,
Yeah.
for themselves, they're not integrating anything as far as payment platform.
No, yeah, yeah.
No,
No,
that's
and that's part of why I really didn't get involved in that. It's
yeah,
actually, come to think of it, it's not a whole lot different, doing an actual trade because you're kind of trusting that the other person is sending it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
So,
you also have. I mean, I don't. I mean, if you ever get into if you get a weird feeling about anybody too, I know there's. Oh gosh, I forget the name of it. I forget what. I think it's. Oh gosh, it's one of Jeremy Lee's sponsors on Sports Cards Live, and I can't remember it. But you traders can send items to a third party, and
oh, yeah.
the transaction doesn't get complete until both items arrive, and then they ship it for you. Veriswap, I think it's Veriswap.
Oh,
They
that
just
it is. You're right. Yep.
so, and then yeah, and if the other item never shows up, your item comes right back to you. So
Right.
if you can utilize that, but yeah,
Yeah, I haven't because again, most of what I'm doing is mostly base.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
There's a special place in hell for people that that don't come through a base card trade, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like, really, you're going to stick me for base cards? Have you ever gotten shafted? Or you have to have, right? Or no?
Not from a user.
That's
I
good.
have actually from the post office.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay, yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
gotten more than once an empty envelope
Okay, yeah.
that the side was ripped open
Hmm.
and the contents were removed.
Yeah.
Um,
Or yeah.
and that's only been, like twice,
Okay. Yeah.
in the,
Out of the 150 or the
yeah,
the 5,500 cards that you traded, you're missing one or two. Yeah, I see.
yeah, it's, so I'm kind of okay with the process as it stands.
It's hey,
Um,
good reliable resource. I mean, you're
yeah,
digging into this so far. I mean, just seeing the amount of work that it takes, because it does. That's probably one of the drawbacks is the effort, and it does take some of the stuff. But I mean, yeah, I've never seen this stuff, and I'm in on TCDB, pretty frequently, because it's a great resource to
yep,
do some of this stuff. But good golly, I had no idea this level existed on it, which is I'm like chomping at the bit here. I'm like, man, I could go maybe
yep.
find some cards.
One of the things that I use it for an awful lot, is want lists, right? So everybody's got their Excel spreadsheets,
Yes,
things of
yes.
that nature. So again, this is great for a set builder because I can go through and look by set,
Hmm.
by a player's name, or
Sure.
by a team, right?
Yeah.
So for
Yeah,
me,
go show a set and show how you can build up a want list or just
so
demonstrate
yeah,
that.
so set list, right? So these are the sets that I'm working on completing, or at least need some cards. And shamelessly plug if anybody out there
Please do.
has a 23-24 Upper Deck Allure Purple Diamond, Tyson Forrester, please let me know. um, I've pretty much gotten every other card in the entire Allure set for Forrester.
Hmm.
And just missing that one. But anyway, so we kind of take a look at a set, right? So this set in particular, 93, 94 Fleer Power Play, they're the taller cards.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've bought a bunch of those. The tall
yep,
boys.
yep. So I built this set on this site from zero.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say zero, from
Mhm.
I think 4 or 5 cards that I had laying around.
You probably had
So
a Lindros. Being a Flyers fan, you might have had a
yep,
Lindros in
yep,
there, and
yeah.
yeah.
Lindros, Ronick,
Hmm.
um, a couple others, but essentially this set, uh, I've worked on exclusively through TCDB, and now
Okay.
I'm left with 4 cards to complete it.
Okay.
So all the trades I did, and this here shows, exactly the
Hmm.
cards that I need to complete it. And
Hmm.
actually, I have these 3 Brodeur, Hasek, and Blue coming from eBay next
Oh,
week.
that's awesome.
So I'll
Yeah,
be
they're
down
not
to
hard.
1.
They're not expensive. I mean, and that's the
No,
funny thing is like, and as much as I wanted to get that, because I was doing the same thing. I was buying the Gretzky's and the Lindros of that set. And then you get them and you're like, where the heck am I going to store them? They don't fit in the right, they don't fit in the boxes that I already have. So they're all laying down. in their loaders, top loaders. But
I have
that's
them in a
always the
binder.
problem. That's always the problem with those. You know what I mean? You get those
Yeah.
obscure size cards, and it's like people like they're probably looking forward to get rid of them because they're like, yeah, I don't want them out. They don't fit.
Yep. Yeah. So how I use this, again, you can kind of go by team player, again, by set, and you can break this down to list all cards that are in the set,
Hmm.
right? So you can see, so like these green ones, you see
Yep.
the list here. Green means it's something available for sale or trade. Blue is in my collection, right?
Mhm.
And so on and so forth. And you can kind of narrow it down to the cards that you have, right? So there's no for sale. You can look at stuff that's still in transit or in a transaction. So like this card here happens to be in transit, so hopefully it shows up soon.
Mhm.
And then you can also, a lot of times I'll go because trying to find things on eBay and whatnot, it's all by team or player.
Yeah.
So, usually I start narrowing things down by teams, right? So you get an idea of, the players from that team.
Mhm.
And then what I do more often than not is cards that I'm looking for. And we'll go back to all teams. Cards that I'm looking for, there's this print function, and you can say, print me a want list.
Mhm.
And here you can decide the number of columns in the report, how big the font should be, and if you want to include prices in here.
There we go. It's very small on the left there, but yeah, we can
Yep.
see that it created a want list for you.
Yep. Pretty simple, but I basically take the want list from this report and I highlight the whole thing, right,
Hmm.
in the report, and I copy and paste it into Excel.
Nice.
So then I take all of my want lists and I kind of consolidate them into, pages. So my want lists right now, which might be easier if I just kind of show you uh, what things I do. I know you probably won't be able to see this very well. I don't know if you want to
Yep.
kind
There
of,
you go. Yep.
right? So I just copy and paste into Excel, and now here I have, 4 different sets of want lists that I'm looking for.
That's
So
cool.
I keep that in front of me. So when I go, scouring eBay or, sitting on whatnot, at least I can quickly glance and say, oh, I do need that one, that
Nice.
sort of stuff. Um,
That's pretty cool.
so I use that part all the time. And if it's okay, I'm just going to switch back to sharing the other
Yep.
screen.
Yep. All pro.
Boom.
Yep. There we go.
Okay. So the other interesting stuff is that, you see on the right, there are statistics, right? How many cards I have, you know, uh, 510 out of 520, because they're actually inserts to that are to this set. And then the percentage that's completed, um, which I kind of like going through and seeing kind of where I'm at.
Hmm.
Um, and, there's a whole nother section here. Uh, if this is the right place.
So that was under transaction and tools, and that's what got us into all that.
Yep. Um, now, oh no. So if I go back under my collection, that's where it is. So there are reports, and
Hmm.
you may have seen some of these before. Especially, I think this is another hobby of yours.
Yeah, that's mine. Missing images. That's where I'm.
Yeah.
That's where I play around a lot in there.
Yeah. So yeah, I come in here every so often and look at things like incomplete sets, right? And you narrow it down by sport. Um, and here you can kind of see the sets that I'm pretty close to completing.
Well, that's super helpful because you're like, man, I just want to work on this one
Yep.
versus
Yeah.
being scattered and all over the place. That helps you dial in and maybe focus it on which ones you're closest on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Because
helpful.
that was a problem for me in the beginning, is I
Yeah.
was like, I need, 1,200 cards across, 50 different sets,
Hmm.
and trying to keep track of that. So now I basically try and keep it like to the top, half dozen sets that are close.
Hmm.
And then, as you see, as you kind of go further down the list, the percentages go down. But that's not to say if I don't see a lot of them somewhere on eBay, I may, look into it because I know I need a lot of cards from that set. I may do that. But for the most part, I kind of stick to the top ones until I complete them and then, move my way down the list.
Cool.
But it's really helpful from that perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm looking at it. I'm just like, man, I got my work cut out for me. I'm gonna have to, get on here and start, because I've added some cards to my want list, but I haven't been as active in this, and I'm trying to connect the dots for myself, being a player collector versus a set builder. Like, hey, how do I utilize this, and um, knowing that I won't be able to do as many trades because the only thing that I really usually acquire for myself is stuff that I want.
Yep.
But at least this is an avenue to help me find out maybe who has something available in what I'm looking for, and at least start there, right?
Yep. Yep.
Trades are really, that's an undervalued resource that I find, in the hobby.
Yeah, there's not so much of that, anymore. Back in the day, I'm sure you participated in trade nights and things like that with the hobby, local collectors groups and things like that. I mean, used to do that all the time. So
Yeah.
this kind of brings some of that back.
Yeah. No, it's its most simple form, because, and the other thing too is, it's great for the builders, set building, and just kind of maybe insert chasing, that type of stuff, because it's not just a full set builder. You can be chasing a certain series of cards, like you talked about earlier. You saw that you shared that person was looking for maybe like the Dazzlers, or completing the Upper Deck portrait set. Like, it can be just creating sets of inserts, specific inserts. So
and it has
you
it
don't have
all
to be a full
broken
set
down by
builder.
insert. Yep, by the type of insert. So if you're into, Young Guns Retro for that year, there you go. And there's not a ton of them, but you have all that there. Oh, it looks like you have some work to do to add some pictures
Oh,
here.
yeah. Well, I'm selfish. When I add images, I just add them on my stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't care about everybody else's. Some Cole Caulfield listener, some Cole Caulfield fan needs to do their homework. So, but
Right.
yeah, I like the 0405, the retros of the players from when we were younger.
Right.
Where there's a young gun Mario Lemieux and a young gun Luc Robitaille and a young gun Steve Yzerman. So, like, the ones that didn't exist, where they never got one.
Yep. Yeah. But just real quick on, kind of building want lists and stuff. So if you're starting from scratch,
yeah. So we're like, go back to where you're at, because you're under sets, right?
Yep.
You're
So,
because I'm
so
following
if
across the
I go
top
back a
there.
little bit here, so this is the base set, right? So 21, 22 Upper Deck, right, is the base set number of cards. Along the left here, there's inserts and related sets.
Yep.
So you click on that, and it gives you all the inserts, mail-in sets, parallels for that particular year. So, just again, I randomly selected the 0102 Young Guns Retro, right? It lists the whole thing, lists all the cards in that. And this is just, I know there's another way to do this, but this is kind of how I get to that point. I take one of the cards and go and update my collection. Now it shows you all the cards, and you can perform actions, right? So you can add it to your collection, add it to for sale trade, add it to a want list, that sort of stuff. But like I said, if you're starting from scratch and you need all the cards, you can just select add all missing cards to want list. Or if you want all the cards, including the errors and variants, or you want it without the errors and variants. Some people are pretty particular about those.
Okay.
Me, just give me everything and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But the same, you can remove cards, that sort of stuff. There's also the ability to enter cards by card number. So if you're adding cards to your inventory, and say you have, out of a 750 card set, you're missing, I don't know, a couple dozen, you can pretty much create a spreadsheet or a text file that has all the numbers from 1 to 750, and then take out all the ones you're missing, and copy and paste, the ones that you kept right into there, and it'll automatically put them all in, and the ones that you're missing will automatically go and be want list cards.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, and I learned that pretty quick. In the beginning, when I was first entering all my cards, I was typing each card number one at a time, and like,
Or you advance to the next one, you just click want list, want list, want list, want list. You're going right down that list there, probably
yep,
utilizing that action number or that action option.
yeah,
And
and a lot is I did a lot with it. Just a plain text file is I had all cards from just numbers from 1 to 750, and I would just copy all the card numbers that I had and paste it into the site here as the card numbers, and it would just put them in my inventory. So
cool.
a lot less typing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yep.
That's awesome. It's huge. Like I said, I'm amazed. I thought I knew something about TCDB, but it's just my playtime that I do. We're like with
right.
Just the playtime of not adding images is really just the whole. It occupies me. It keeps me from buying cards.
Yeah.
It really
That's the
occupies
trick,
my
right?
time. And this is the same thing for you too. Like you're managing and you're building, but you're going through trades, and it's keeping you in the hobby, but you're not actively spending anything really until you're shipping
Right.
or it's like I said, I think it's a resource that is kind of dying. Like I get upset that I can't send these or cards to people that lot trading club that
Mm-hmm.
at least where you're doing this, you're finding people that are of like-minded that are willing to spend money, postage to ship cards to get something back, because that's really all you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's kind of similar concept, right?
yeah,
But it's been, a great thing for me personally, and like you say, it kind of keeps me from sitting on eBay 24 hours a day trying to hunt down cards and constantly just buying cards. Here at least I can kind of put together a game plan, a plan of attack on what I'm going to look for, and it makes going on those other platforms a lot easier because I kind of know exactly what I want to go after.
yeah, yeah. Because I'll be honest, I'm on eBay. It can get frustrating because I'm on there so often. I bet you it's like I'm on there as frequently. People probably would think it's a game on my phone. Like,
Uh,
I'm like,
that,
oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just hunting for
yeah,
cards. Like my
that's
wife
what
does.
not for me.
Yeah, exactly. My wife does her. Oh gosh. I forget which the game is, but she's some ridiculous level, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm on eBay. What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm playing this." I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
I have the same conversation with my wife because she plays all the games on her phone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Oh, I can't believe
yeah,
I can't think of the name of it. Candy Crush. Candy Crush. She does.
yeah,
She still does
I'm,
that.
yeah. I know my wife has like a dozen different ones,
Yeah, yeah. So,
but you know,
well, Michael, I'm going to be honest with you. I think we've opened Pandora's box, because I guarantee there's going to be probably future episodes where we're going to have to touch on the next step or another avenue of it, because if it's interesting, like I said, it's tips on how to do the you know loading your collections. Like some of that stuff's helpful. So can
right.
people, would you mind if people were to pop out and hit you with a DM and
Oh,
ask
please
for
do.
tips or information like that?
Yeah,
Because maybe we'll have separate episode down the road. And
yeah,
um
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's
there's so much to this. I mean, like you said, you use it for one particular purpose. I
mhm,
use it for a completely different particular purpose.
mhm.
And that between the two of us, we're still just scratching the surface on all the other things you can do in
Yeah,
here. So I think it's worth talking about down the road.
yeah, just yeah, because like I said, I don't just do it just to add the images. I mean, I use it to track my cards.
Mhm.
I inventory my stuff. um I have anal retentiveness. I do 3 inventories. I do it there, collectibles, and on my own Excel spreadsheet. But so do the inventory, add the images. So yeah, that's kind of what I gotten used to it for. But it is a resource to utilize.
Yep.
Um, And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's trouble because I think if people utilize it the right way, and one of the drawbacks is though it's going to take time and commitment from
It
the
does. Yeah.
individual to get
Mhm.
started, right? I mean, you were laid up in doing it, so it will take
Yeah.
some time and energy and effort to load what you want to have in there.
Yeah, for sure. It does take time, and yeah, I guess you can call it. I was fortunate that I had nowhere else to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you have a lot. If you have that amount of inventory, it's worthwhile. Like there's
Mhm.
some cards I could load in there that I don't really. I'm not going to go through and probably load all these, but and these 8 boxes of cards because, but it's helpful because the system will automatically update it for you when you're outgoing and incoming. It'll take it out of your inventory for you.
Yeah, it it's been a great find for me. So
Yeah.
happy I've run into it. I would say the only other thing I would say about this site is if you're going to, get into participating in this stuff and spend more time on here,
Mhm.
by all means, buy the subscription.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
Get the
5
paid
bucks.
version. Yeah,
It gets rid of the ads and the site runs 100 times faster.
yeah.
Um, I actually, refuse to do it. Just, I don't know, for the sake of arguments, I'd probably say the first 8, 10 months I was using the site, and I would get frustrated because it would take forever to load or get
Mhm.
stuck, or ads would be all over the place. And then I said, okay, let me try this, and I signed up, and I was like, whoa, I'm not going back.
Well, let me do this. Let me put this hang on for a second. So this is your nice site. This is your, no ads. If you click on the home, just look at that. I'm going to show the example. Go to your home on the main thing there, whatever. Go to your
Oh,
profile
here we
link.
go. There you go here.
Yeah. See, nice. There you go. So there's your site. Scroll down a little bit, right, and then
Yeah.
you got everything nice there. Okay. So yeah, it's a good resource. There's the forums. You can get involved there. All right. So let's show the antithesis of that. Hang on for a second.
Yep.
Let's do that. Let me share my screen. Start sharing. Where am I sharing? I'm sharing. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Look at all those ads. Look at the ads. I got this. I got to close this. I got to close the video, which sometimes will play sound. And I'm like, oh, but there's a card I just added.
Oh, look
Michael,
at that.
there's one I just added. But yeah, I got the ads on the top, and
Yep.
it's K. Oh, Kiss. Every Kiss begins with K, and there's all this
A-
stuff. Yeah,
And if you
it's
leave the site idle, like if you stayed here, it would
yeah,
eventually be overrun by ads and likely close to stop working. You'd have to close it and reopen it.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, like I was showing you. Let me share mine. My profile. I will say this: I'm a level 6. I don't know what you were. My permissions. That's what I was focused in on initially. So I got the level 6 of my permissions. So that's making revisions and edits and suggesting inaccuracies and uploading images. But what I was sharing with Michael earlier, and I'll just do this: the contributions. This is how many Sean Couturier cards that I have added to the website. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
little side hobby of mine. Hobby. It's a hobby side hobby. So
Yeah, but I mean,
well,
that's
yeah.
great.
I think you've
I tried
convinced
it
me.
and I just could never
I
spend that amount of time doing that.
I think you convinced me to get rid of the free version. So I've always ignored it. So well,
All right.
awesome. Was there anything else you want to touch on for this topic, this portion of it that we didn't cover? I mean, like I said, if
Yeah, there's so much,
oh, it's
again,
huge. It's
we
huge.
both do totally different things with it. Um, but yeah, by all means, if anybody, wants to find out more about how to build their collection or put together trades, uh, please reach out.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And one more, I'm gonna try to have I'm gonna try to get a picture of it inserted into this part of the segment. But what's that one Tyson Forrester card you're looking for? It's an allure.
Oh yeah, the Purple Diamond.
The Purple Diamond Allure from what year?
23-24.
23-24. All right. So we're gonna put the APB on now, people.
Yeah.
If you've got it, Michael needs it. Look up Rink Rat. Let's
Yep.
help him out, people. So
I'd
we gotta help
appreciate
him out. So yeah. Okay. So let's get to let's do the PC spotlight.
Sure.
We're gonna head into the home stretch here. Do that. And you're the guest. I will let you share something from your collection that excites you. So give a little spotlight of something you have in your PC.
Yeah, I have just a few cards here. Kind of as you are to Sean Couturier, I am Tyson Forrester.
All right.
And that's actually, I got back into the hobby. I was at a show, and there was a Tyson Forrester Star Rookie card. Not really worth much of anything, but I didn't know. And I was like, oh, I like him, and I bought that card, and that kind of got me back into buying cards, altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But these are kind of my most recent Forrester pickups.
Can do this. Can I add you? I should have asked Louis how to do this. I wanted to try to. I'm not sure if I can. I wanted to try to get you big and me little, but all right, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen it done.
Yeah.
But just as far as recent pickups,
Nice.
Try and get over here. All right, so debut Forrester out of 99.
Nice.
Of course, exquisite. This is 1 of 99.
Okay, cool.
Pretty cool. Here's a newer Ultimate Rookies Tyson Forrester out of 99.
Oh, nice.
The only thing about him though is his autograph is horrendous.
Oh, I hate it. I got to be honest. There's some of these young guys. Yeah, it's like it's an AT or something like that. It's really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm
here's
learning that with some of my guys. Jet Luchenko's autograph.
Yeah, he's not so great either. But
No.
This is the Allure set. This is Blue Line. I think it's out of 35. Now there's a patch version of this. There's an auto version of this.
Mm-hmm.
I actually would prefer without either. Again, because his autograph is so terrible. And the patches on Allure to me were always so tiny. Yeah. So I just thought the cards by themselves were much nicer. Here's the next door neighbor to that Purple Diamond.
Okay.
It's called Hypnosis.
Yeah.
So Purple Diamond, I think, is out of 10.
All right.
And then just for the sake of arguments, this is all that I have outside of base cards of somebody.
Thank you. Playing to the audience. Yeah. Got him.
Well, I knew you did. It just they're the only ones that I have, like I said, outside of my completed sets.
Nice. Well, I went because I've kind of gotten this thing. I just posted one of these on my Instagram the other day, and I grabbed a sheet of paper while you were talking there because I kind of have to with some of these, and I'm going to be the dangerous one, take them out of the top loader. But I've got this 95, 96 Fleer Ultra View, or it's Fleer Ultra Extra. Fleer Ultra Extra. It's an acetate card. And the Ultra View, let me put it behind a piece of paper here. The Ultra View is like acetate.
Yep.
Right. So I have to see that. So it's kind of cool.
I might have that one.
I didn't even realize that it was acetate when I was looking at these online. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I was just like, oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. And then when I got it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's acetate. It's a window. I'm like, I didn't even notice that.
But that was the same with the new, was it EX 2000s?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had no idea there were like clouds behind it.
Correct.
So I had no idea. And I put it down on a piece of paper and went, oh, look, there's clouds.
Yes. You're like, oh, I get it. Because when they first came out, I was like, what is up with these pictures? What are these clouds? I'm like, what is up with these pictures? The other one that I have, again, it's a 95, 96. So you can tell somebody was on ComC or on it was ComC filling in a checklist item, and this was, what is this one? Topps Finest, Division's Finest. This one's kind of funky. I didn't realize it until I got it in hand, but it looks kind of not great. You can kind of see it's a little see-through.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See me on there? You know, the coloring, but once you put it up against a white background, the coloring really pops a lot more.
Oh yeah, that is cool.
You know, it takes away the see-through and it's got this rainbow look. So yeah, it was really cool. I was like, this was, now take it away and it looks a little bit faded.
Yeah.
So
What year is that?
This is 95, 96.
Okay.
Topps Finest, Division's Finest. So here's the word Division's Finest. Yeah, the Division's Finest across here. So yeah, you can see everything through it.
That's one of the nicer, older Lindros cards.
Yeah, it was just like I saw it, and again, because the picture was a scan, and the scan just made it look like a plain old white card.
Mm-hmm.
You know, plain old white card. You can kind of see where that. And so I was like, and then you got it, and I was like, at first I was kind of like, ew, but I'm like, no, that's actually kind of cool. I like it. So there's that one, and then the other one I have is the Fleer Ultra. This is again 95. I was in the era, just the Fleer Ultra Gold Medallion Gretzky.
Oh, yeah, that one.
You know, everybody likes the gold and shiny, and this is just one of those cards. I was like, you know what, I didn't have it yet, but yeah, I just love the way that card looks.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, they always are. Like. Yep. So just filling in some holes, doing some checklisting, same old. So, so awesome. Well, Michael, thank you very much. Did you have some fun?
Oh yeah, no, it's great. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, I really, really appreciate it, man. I said, I think this is this might be one of those things where this might cause more trouble than it's worth, because they're going to have me messaging you like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that?
But maybe I could host a thing on Discord. We can, go through a tutorial.
Yeah, right. That'll be the next thing, But so yeah, I'll put it out there. That's as far as the, maybe we'll go on the next step. Now, I think I owe you a favor on TCDB. I think I owe you a tutorial on how to upload images and show, do that aspect of it. So, we'll have to break it down and do more things like that. So now I owe you a favor.
Yep. Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on and sharing your knowledge. It's really, really helpful. It kind of fits the mold of what Behind the Bench is all about. So I appreciate you willing to do that. So
sure thing.
Awesome. So just as a reminder for everybody, remember you can check here for new episodes on Behind the Bench on Discord here every single Tuesday. We release them on the Behind the Bench channel and with the clover emoji. So, you can catch great information, from people like Michael, Rinkrat39. Check them out, send them a message, send them a thank you message saying, appreciate the information. So, as always, feel free to share your comments, any questions, even share experiences that you have with anything related to the topic. I know I love hearing about it and having continued discussions. Michael's very active on there pretty well, so he'll pop in there and communicate and chat it up. So please feel free to please remember to follow me on Instagram at Irish Flyers Collector. And Michael, you're on Instagram. Yeah, you're on.
I'm on Instagram, but it's just my name.
Your personal Instagram. One?
Yeah.
You post cards on there or no?
Not really.
Okay, so
yeah, so
catch you on Discord.
Yeah, Discord's the place pretty much to find me.
There you go. Perfect. So find them on Discord. So thanks again for everybody watching and taking time out of your day. I appreciate it. Michael, thanks again one more time for sharing your experience with this. Hope it didn't cause too much trouble yet. We'll see what happens once this episode drops, I imagine. So, but again, until next time, everybody, he's Michael. I'm Neil. Remember, and thank you for watching, and you've been Behind the Bench.